Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of our trees. Or, I'm sorry, I seen the word trees and I say the word trees. Let's look at the rest of our points over here. We have trees, we have storm. So I'm going to send storm to the top. We've already labeled our light poles. I am not going to change the tree style into anything more, I was going to say more specific. So I'm going to go to properties and I am going to send our storm to the top. And I am going to send, I'm going to go ahead and send the building to the top. Okay, apply and okay. All right, and I'm going to type in regen to refresh the points. Okay, so here's my building. So I am going to go ahead and, give me 1 second. Home, I'm going to create a layer. Now, the company you work for will already have layers set. If not, do whatever they say to do and make that current. So I am going to go polyline and I'm going to go snap, snap, snap. There should have been a cutout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explode this line and I am going to copy CO for copy, snap that to here, and then I'm going to go endpoint to endpoint, okay? So, and then I'm going to take this line and go here. We should have picked up some more lines going back, but we didn't. Now, the elevation, well, maybe we did. Well, not real sure if two groups picked it up because I'm pretty sure the building isn't like that angle, but I'm gonna leave it. So let's look at the elevations. If I click on a node, I can come down here in my properties. If your properties are missing, if it looks like that and your properties are missing, type in PR to get your properties palette back up. I always keep my properties palette almost up all the time, just because I like to have the information. So it says 124.71, and this one says 124.79. This one here says 125. This was 125. This is 125. And this is 124. So I'm only looking at it to see elevations, if I could actually get a finished floor elevation on this, because you would need to set a finished floor. Our guys out in the field didn't, but we'll just put a piece of text on there and say the finished floor is 125. Technically, this is only one building with a door here. And there's also a door over here. So I don't know where they picked up the points. My guess is this point out here, these points here, are going to be actually more accurate as the finished floor versus this point out here, which they probably picked up outside the building in soft grass. So the finished floor, you'll have to ask your guys how they want to do the finished floor. These points here would be interior to the building where the door is, where you walk into the building. So I'm more adamant to say that this point here defines the finished floor elevation better than any of the other points, okay? All right, so we got the building in there, and I'll show you how to start doing text in a minute. So we got the building, and I said we would look at here's a storm manhole or a sanitary sewer manhole. I don't remember which. I'm going to probably say it's the storm. So the other point group, so I clicked on properties, the other point group is where it says catch basin. I really wish there was a way that it was in alphabetical order, but maybe that'll be their next improvement. I'm going to put the catch basin to the top. Apply and okay. All right, now I say this is storm because I think there is going to be a storm inlet that, if I zoom out here, this storm pipe, this inlet, catch basin inlet, is going to discharge to this area here. This area here is actually a dry retention pond that has an overflow weir on this side. And if I had to guess, I would say that these points connect and they go to the west, okay? So I'm going to change this style, and I'm going to actually change, whoops, click on this, make sure you can see the information. I am going to change it to a storm sewer manhole, and I am going to change it to, oops, I said storm sewer manhole. And then the information, I'm going to do elevation and description. And then on this, I can see that this would be the four corners of a catch basin out in the field. Okay, that I'm sure of. So what I want to do is, I don't want to see these points after I draw it. I do want to see this pipe, right, or this storm manhole here. So I'm going to come over here, and all the points are on, if you look at V nodes, and that's fine. So I'm going to go home, layer properties. I'm going to create another layer called 0-FAU-storm, and I'm going to make that current. I'm not picking really colors. Colors aren't really important right now. You can color code yours. The only reason that colors would matter on the line type is the thickness of the line when it gets printed. So I know our company, red is really a thick line and white is really a thin line. Every company can be different. There should be standards, but not every company does the same. So I'm going to create a polyline, and I am on the storm, and I'm going to snap point to point to point to point. All right, that is the catch basin, and the top of the catch basin is 124.08, 124.08, 124.08, 124.08. So the grate that this catch basin is on is 124.08. I don't need to see all 4 points. I can use a leader, so I'm going to go to annotate, and I'm going to come over here to multi-leader. There are various options. We'll see what the style is. I'm going to click on multi-leader, and I'm going to snap here, and I'm going to get a landing, and I'm going to go. Now, don't worry so much about the text right now. I'm going to have my caps on and go catch base storm catch basin great elevation 124.08. There will be a west invert, west INV. That's the invert of the pipe that goes to the west to the stormwater that storm drain. But I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to leave it be like this. Okay, that's super duper tiny. But also you got to remember I said that our scale down here was 10. If I change this to 40, this doesn't change. And the reason this size doesn't change, I click on the label, is because this says no. I'm going to change that to yes, that annotative state to yes. I'm going to regen. Before I do that, I may have to, I'm going to modify that. Leader, okay, arrow size, type is straight, leader, content, standard, text type is 0.18. Okay, so technically when it prints, okay, let me go from here. The size of the leader, the arrowhead is going to be 0.18. That is going to be too large when I print it to paper space. In paper space, I want it to be 0.08, okay? All of this I'm going to leave as default for right now. The content, I want it to be 0.08, okay? And I want the scale to be annotative, okay? So anytime you see annotative, I like to use annotative. Not everybody does. So do not worry if your company goes, we're not using annotative. You just have to think what text type you want. I'm going to set that current and close. Now I'm going to delete that. Now, when I say something is annotative, that means when I change this scale here, it changes with it. And the reason I'm harping on this now is because it becomes a pain in the butt when you're drafting, when you get into your job. So here's the deal. So if I wanted to print this at 40 scale, and I wanted the text height when printed to be 0.08 or 0.1 millimeters in height, I'm going to use 0.08 because I honestly think that looks the best. Then it needs to be a text of 3.2. Okay, that text height should be 3.2. So I'm going to use annotated for right now. So I'm going to do the multi-leader again. It still says standard. I am going to pick out here, and I am going to say storm catch basin, great elevation. Some people use equal sign, some people don't. See what your company wants. 124.08. And then I'm going to say west, I invert, question mark. Okay. Sometimes the pipes are full of water and you don't know what well, you should always be able to see what the invert is, but we don't have it. So see how at 40 scale it looks good. If I go to 10 scale, it still looks, it's relative to whatever scale I put it on, okay? So I'm going to leave that as is for right now. I'm going to go back to the 40. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. If I want that leader, notice that there's two now. One of them is for a 10 scale and one of them is for a 40 scale. This is what drives our surveyors batty, is seeing the multiple scales, okay? I just did a grip out of that arrow. Okay, that is frustrating. It's because I've bounced back between the 10 and the 40. Now, either you get used to it, you also have the option of when you click on it, you can see that there's multiple scales and you can actually delete one. And there it's gone. Okay, you really have to think about what scale this drawing is going to be plotted as. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here because I want to show you, so when we start labeling things, what scale you need to do something at. All right, so I'm going to pause right now.